Recording in process. Good afternoon, everyone.
Hello, Martha. Can you remove your welcome screen?
You need to remove my welcome screen.
Yes.
So this is the. So
Is that part of your presentation?
yes, that is part of the presentation.
Oh, okay. Never mind then.
Yes,
Just getting too far ahead.
Yeah, that is the welcome, slide for welcoming everyone. Thank you for joining us, Monica. It's good to see you again. And I have Basharat. Happy. It's so good to see you again. Happy is normally one of the regular participants in part of our webinars. And today is a really good one. We have prepared a really good material for you. The idea, I will explain you later the objective. So I have Jasprit, I think so, Miral, I think I have BP, I have Aryan. So probably more people, they will join us. I have other ones that they send me a note that they won't be able for joining us, but they are asking or is waiting to receive the um, thank you, Happy, the link. So let's start working on the presentation today. So the approach of the presentation, let me just move my mouse correctly over here. Perfect. Is focused on how to decode a job posting. I've been noticing that professionals, when they are reading job postings, they are focused on titles, they are focused on just the title most of the time, yeah? But we are not spending the time for understanding, yeah? So for that reason, I just had the idea to let's work on how to decode, how to understand what are the parts of the job posting, how we can read a job posting just to guarantee or ensure that we are the correct fit. We are fitting according to the job posting. The company is expecting to receive applicants or applications from applicants or candidates that they will fit, not perfectly, 100%. Yeah. But the idea is they are expecting to receive applications from professionals that they know what is the role that they will play in that position. And I have been noticing that several of the job postings that they are in the industry, they are being reposted. So that was part of the promotion from on the campaign from this specific webinar. And last Saturday, I had the opportunity to meet with a colleague from Nestle in London, Ontario. And that person told me that after they are looking for a quality assurance technician for to fulfill the position for the night shift. And they posted the job position on Thursday. And on the Saturday morning, they already received around 900 applications. 900 applications. Several of the professionals, they are submitting general applications. Yesterday, I had a meeting with the professionals, the students from my classes that they are asking me about an advice for checking the resumes, general resumes, not, focus on the position and what the post is asking for. So for that reason, the idea is to discuss today about this specific process to how to conduct the analysis of roles and know if you are the correct fit. So yes, after this specific element, it's important to know about, just 1 second, what is going on over here? Let's go to the next slide. Perfect. It's going to be a 60 minutes workshop with the quality and answer questions. Yeah. And the idea is that based on the, just 1 second, because I think someone is writing over there. I don't know what happened, but okay, I just want to be sure that, give me just 1 second. This is part of the tools. So this is a workshop that is focused on explain. We want to explain with Mary the steps. Yeah. And with job seekers, they can read the lines of job postings and identify what employers truly want, conduct an assessment if the skills, soft, hard skills, experience, goals align with the role before applying. Yeah. So Mary Whittaker has been my career coach for more than 10 years. And she's the expert here. So together we will be working on the explanation about how to read in a job post, how to conduct the analysis, and she is the perfect one to give us great advice focused on the food industry, because most of the professionals here, they are focused on the food industry. So saying that, let's work on the next. Oh, Mary, if you want to introduce yourself.
Hello, everyone. My name is Mary Whittaker. I'm the owner of Right Career. I help people find their next new job. I have a very high success rate of individuals, including international professionals. I have an over 95% success rate of my clients getting interviews and job offers, because I work personally with you to find out your strengths that you can bring to the table and how to decipher job postings. Martha's absolutely right. Most people just see the job posting and apply for it without reading it and making comparison to what their experience is to what the job posting is asking for. And then they don't put the right information on the resume, and then the ATS system is automatically rejecting it.
Exactly. So let me do something. Let me stop sharing, because accidentally, let me see. I just want to stop sharing just for a moment. Oh, I have the annotation here. So give me just 1 second. I just want to delete that specific. Let me stop and let me reshare. It's easier. So yeah, the idea is to discuss today what are the type of steps that we are not following and how we can improve. Yeah, that is the idea, that we want to teach you, we want to train you, we want to see you being successful. So we have 4 main objectives today: decoding any job posting with precision. Mary uses normally the perfect word, accurately. How accurate we can be in how to decode a job posting. So let's start from the title. Let's start checking about the introduction of the job posting. What are the responsibilities, the requirements, and company cues to separate core signals from noise? Yeah. Sometimes we have a lot of positions that they have too much information, other ones that they are easy to follow, So based on that industry, yeah, it's definitely important to know how, based on one specific example. I just selected one example from a company that is looking for a quality assurance technician. Yeah. The number 2, build an ATS-ready keyword map and use it. Yeah. So let's see what are the type of hard skills, soft skills, certifications. Yeah. Action verbs is something that always we are promoting with Mary when, we are doing the exercise to read and job posting, Then turn them into a tailored resume bullets. Yeah. How to tailor the resume based on that reading. Yeah. Conducting an assessment about how you fit with a proven framework. Yeah. So apply must have versus nice to have. So must have is what the company is looking for. And that is the criteria that the company use, ATS system or hardware, software, or a recruiter, in order to make a decision: reject, accept, versus nice to have. Yeah. So nice to have is not the criteria, but if someone has that specific requirement, you probably gonna be selected. Yeah. But those mandatory requirements are the ones that we are going to evaluate today. Yeah. So we have those nice to have versus trainable. So I remember Mary, when I was asking her for my applications, oh, Mary, I don't have any idea about this specific software. Yeah. Or that specific requirement. Mary said, if you are a faster learner, you can put that in your cover letter. So if I don't fulfill that requirement, you can just introduce a strategy in your cover letter, letting the company knows that you are a faster learner. and you have other characteristics or skills that you are, ready to fulfill based on the position. Yeah. And just be confident, go bridge past decision with a completing job fit. Yeah. And the next one is avoid the fairly costly mistakes. So I just conducted the research about what, and based on the experience, and Mary is going to enrich that conversation about what are the costly mistakes. What are the costly mistakes? We are not receiving invitations for interviews, So what is the idea? Let's see how, they blindly skipping tailoring process, ignoring key calls, overlooking chief environment realities, walk out 2-week action plan, resume updates, outreach, any gap bridging steps. So that is the idea today based on this specific webinar. So saying that, let's start talking about the next element. Let's talk about the number one aspect. So the objective number one is focus on decoding with precision, but let's start talking about what are the common mistakes. So based on the common mistakes, I have just 4 examples based on different positions, 4 different positions. So here we have a quality assurance technician for a dairy company that is manufacturing dairy products, like a Sapporo, or we have Lactalis. Yeah. So the posting, for example, it states HTST pasteurization. This is an example about the pasteurization process. CIP, cleaning in place verification, and PMO records, allergen milk controls. Yeah. So normally I can see that candidates, they are listing that experience like a bakery packaging, quality assurance, no thermal processing, or not being specific. So why it is a miss? Because we are missing the core process hazards. Yeah. Tools don't transfer one-to-one, and the ATS system and hiring manager won't see required keywords. So these ones are part of the hard skills. Yeah. So how we can fix that situation? Yeah. Only apply if you can show that you have those specific technical or hard requirements in the food industry. Yeah. Talking about the quality assurance, if that is requested. Yeah. If you can list the HTST or cleaning in place or CIP exposure, for example, during EcoApp, during your college education, and you were managing any specific project. Yeah. Normally in Conestoga College, in Lambton College, you guys are willing or able to do that set of activities. Yeah. Cross training, or quickly earn a micro credential and add it into your summary. So you can, Mary, remember that one of the aspects that you said is like we can educate. So a micro credential is one of the courses that I can take. So it means how I can state that in my cover letter. Like I am in the process for education. If I don't have the experience, for example, about managing the CIP verification, but I can take a course based on that, how I can state that in my resume?
Well, it's not necessarily in the resume. It mostly is in the cover letter that you're willing to learn, or if you're registered for a course, an upcoming course, you can add that to your resume under education and say in progress or registered for fall of 2025. This example here, the key part of this whole thing is dairy experience. Okay. You've got to be able to work with milk controls. If you have anything with that, and you've got to make sure that when you're looking at your job postings, that you understand what pasteurization means, what milk allergen controls mean. You can put this under your key competencies, but you got to explain on your resume what your experience is. And that's where one of the things that people aren't talking about. They're not demonstrating where or how they've used these keywords.
Correct. So let's talk about example number 2, sanitation supervisor, because I have several professionals that they are looking for those type of jobs. So the job posting states pre-op or pre-operation inspections, Listeria, E. coli risk control, strong chemistry knowledge, overnight shift. This is so important when job posting, they are stating about the shifts. Several of them, they said rotation. Other ones said continental shift. You know what does it mean in continental shift? 12 hours.
on
working.
the weekends.
Yeah.
So continental shift usually means that you're working 12-hour shifts Friday, Saturday, or Sunday. You can
And then
do
you have
12-hour shifts over the weekend, and that's your whole work week.
exactly. So this is so important because I have professionals that they are struggling with the chiefs. Oh, I didn't know, I didn't notice. So you have to read understanding the job position. Yeah.
But the other thing with continental shifts, if the company is unionized, you also get paid overtime, a rate of pay for doing weekend works and after your normal shift. So they
Correct.
actually make more money doing a continental shift than a normal shift during the week.
Correct. So this is something that is for several professionals considered an advantage. Other ones, they said, no, I don't want to work on that specific shift, you know? So you have to think about that information that is stated in the rest in the job posting. Okay.
So with the
So here,
example,
candidate submits.
so with example here too, the most important thing about this position is your experience with food waste, preventing cross contamination. So it's all about those inspections, making sure that you have zero hazardous waste, you have non-contaminating products. It's this whole program, this position, sanitation, meet overnight. One, you have to work overnight, and any shifts after 11 o'clock is a premium shift. You get a premium shift. But the most important thing about that, example two, is cross-contamination, making sure that all your products meet quality control. Even though that doesn't say it, that's what the most important thing is.
And this is one of the mistakes that sometimes, thank you, Mary, for that contribution, the candidates they are submitting. So they are not relating the experience based on the type of industry. Yeah. So here, fresh produce QA with the chips, or they are not stating about the chips. But if you are not relating the experience, yeah, it's something that definitely is going to be a mistake, you know. What it is means different micro risks, chemicals, and chief expectations. So how we can fix target sanitation roles in your current sector first. You know, if you were working in a sanitation crew as a entry level position, or you have experience as a team leader, yeah, or get an internal sanitation lead task before jumping to the Canadian Food Inspection Agency regulated meat. Yeah.
But
So that is one.
also on your resume, you can talk about your learned outcomes. If you took a course on microbiology, you can talk about that. And
Or
you can talk
sanitation.
about your school projects about learning about cross-contamination, food prevention. These are all part of your education that you need to bring into your resume because that posting is all about cross-contamination, risk of food.
More than cross contamination, if you see the title, because the title is focused on quality assurance sanitation supervisor, they have to guarantee that they are able to deal with employees with the team crew, because that is one of the key responsibilities, and they are focused with cleaning, sanitation. They have an understanding about the how to proceed conducting or following procedures, as Mary said, in order to avoid cross contamination. They have clarity about what does it mean microbiology,
And the other thing is, this is asking
you
for a
know, what is the
sanitation
difference between.
supervisor. So if you have ever led a project, school project, if you've ever been working as a volunteer, if you've ever led a project like coached a sports team, these are all events that you need to include because that shows your leadership skills and management skills. So
Correct.
you've got to include not just your work experience, but if you've ever done any kind of a volunteer experience, projects where you led at school or in work, that
Courses
you
in
need to
the
show
policy.
as supervisory leadership management experience.
And as additionally, as Mary stated before, remember that normally in Lambton and Conestoga, most of the colleges, they are in the food industry or quality programs, they are teaching in a specific subject about sanitation and cleaning. So everything that you have learned in that specific class, and if you deal with projects, you can state that in your resume. Yeah. Okay. So the next one is skipping tailoring. So skipping tailoring, what does it mean, Mary? Let's talk about that.
Skipping tailoring is
When
basically
professionals, they are not.
you're not getting the relevant information translating that relevant information that's on the posting to your personal experiences. A lot of people on the resume don't talk about their personal references and experiences and how their learned outcome. Many employers are now stating in their job postings that if you're using AI to copy or write your resume, they will not accept it because it's not personalized, it's not specific to your own experiences and how you solved problems.
Exactly. So the idea is you have to take the time, for just reading the resume and adjusting using the mirror language. That is something that we discussed in the webinar from Friday. Yeah. So here we have an example about HPLC. If you remember, it means high performance liquid chromatography testing process. Yeah. So the posting is asking for someone with experience about HPLC vitamin analysis or water activity or pH, yeah, or titrable acidity, yeah, laboratory management systems and good laboratory practices. And normally the candidate submits tested samples, recorded results. So this is a perfect example when professionals, they are not using the technical language that the job posting is asking for, and you can prove that you have the experience and you are just using a general set of activities. Immediately they said this resume has not been tailored, discarded.
So when they're asking for this candidate to submit general test samples, recorded results, they want to know, the employer wants to know where you've done it, how you did it, and what kind of results you did, whether it's how you prevented something or you introduced something. You have to have longer explanations of how you did those keywords so that because the HR person does not know what this means, a lab technician processing HPLC, you've got to explain it to her on your resume and in your cover letter.
Exactly. And why it is missed? Because we have lack some methodology, yeah, tool keywords that the ATS system won't be able for scanning, yeah. So how we can fix that? Perform. Those ones are the action verbs that Mary has mentioned, yeah, using the full element, high performance liquid chromatography, brackets, HPLC, vitamins, or it depends about what type of HPLC testing did you can do before in different industry. But the most important part here is to guarantee that you have the experience. In the college, just stated that as part of your training. Yeah.
And
Water
if you
activity,
have a project
pH,
that talked
pH.
about this HPLC or vitamin analysis or whatever, you talk about that in your resume, that you learned this process through your courses and you had results. If you had a specific project that talked about these things, and again, you're not using HPLC, you also have to use the full name, again, because HR people don't understand what this means, so you have to tell them. But you have to say, you performed this HPL vitamin AE for what? What were you doing? What was your analysis about? What result? And specifically talk about your results, because usually in lab technicians, you always have results. You are meeting quality standards. You're talking about waste. You're meeting conformance standards. Whatever those are, keywords related to food industry, you've got to include them in your resume.
Exactly. And this is another example. We have several companies that they are looking for professionals in this case for SQF standards. So for those ones that have attended the classes with me, we know that under the SQF standard, they are looking for fulfilling the position of SQF practitioner. Yeah, so if the posting says SQF edition 9, that is the current one, internal audit, supplier approval, corrective action and preventive action plans, yeah, verification and validation, yeah. So, the candidate can state supported or experience with GFSI or SQF, yeah, handling audits. I have been noticing that several times today, yesterday, and last week. I have 3 professionals that they stated on the resume internal audits. So when I said that, I saw that and I said, okay, what is the reason for listing that as an experience? What is your experience as an auditor? Do you have a certificate as an internal auditor? No. Have you conducted the internal audit process, or are you supporting, or did you support? I was conducting a couple of activities, but that is related with internal audits. When they were explaining me about the activities, they were related with inspections, but not anything related with internal audits. So you have to state in your resume the activities that you really conducted in the past.
But you can also say on your cover letter that you're willing to learn the process of doing internal audits.
Or
If
you
you've not done
you
the
have.
experience, do not include it on your resume.
Yep. And that if that is your plan, as Mary stated, you can schedule for taking a course. Several certification bodies now they are offering internal auditing courses. So that look at the difference here. Lead SQF Edition 9 internal audit or supported. If you didn't do the leader, you were not the auditor leader or the lead auditor, you can add like a supporting, or learning, because sometimes we have companies that they are giving opportunities to professionals to conduct the process for just learning or training auditors, 12 audits per year or 4 audits, 1 audit every 6 months. You can state that. More specific, more credibility.
But you also need to tell me what kind of audits you were doing. Were they audits on the processing, the production, packaging?
In this case, Mary, in this case for the industry, when you are stating internal audits, doesn't matter what type of specifically of process.
Okay.
Because in the industry we have first party audit, that is the internal audits, second party audit, that those ones are
So
for
they're all under one. Okay.
suppliers and customers, or third party audits that they are for certification bodies. So they can explain what type of auditing process they did conduct based on the experience. Internal, second party for suppliers, or third party for certification bodies. Okay.
So here's an idea. Instead of saying led, you can say championed in SQLED internal audit programs.
Yep.
Use
So
different
what
words.
does it mean, champion? In order to explain everyone, what is the scope of champion?
Well, champion means to me that you know what you're doing, you have mastered internal audits, you know the processing of it, and you get results and you make recommendations. So it's different. It's a one step above saying just led.
Excellent. Common mistake number 3, ignoring key qualifications or certifications. I have several professionals that they are applying as managers. So food safety quality assurance manager, the posting states PCQI certificate or certified. Remember that PCQI certification is for professionals that they already took a 16 hours course. Oh, this is 20 hours course. For having the knowledge about American regulations. In Canada, this is one of the certificates that is one of the top ones. So if the posting states PCQI certified, several of the posts, they said preferred. What does it mean, preferred?
Okay, so when a job posting says preferred qualifications, they will look at your resume, but if they have somebody who has exact qualifications that they are looking for, they will look at that person better. And often that can be a choice of who they end up offering the job to because they have that preferred qualifications.
Thank you, Mary. And FISMA is the regulatory set of standards in the US, preventive control plan. So those ones that they already have a certification about that, those ones are the ones that, as Mary stated, they will be preferred. They will be a point to differentiate you with other candidates, And the candidates submit just HACCP advanced, no PCQI. That is going to be the criteria, because we are missing. It's different totally, the HACCP certificate from the PCQI, And here is a legal responsibility under the FISMA needs, so under the American regulations. Several companies in Canada, they are trading with American companies. So that is the reason for asking for the PCQI, So take the PCQI before applying, or as Mary stated, you can just let the company know that you have plans to enroll yourself in the in that specific aspect related with the PCQI, or the FISMA coordinator,
And the other thing to remember, you cannot lie about your qualifications because many employers are now checking your education with the universities to make sure, or colleges, that you have the certifications, the designations, everything. that you have claimed to be. If you lie on your application or your resume, it may deem you being fired after getting hired.
And that is something that definitely we don't want.
And the other thing is, you got to be true with your resume, on your resume.
Please.
I had a client years ago. She was in marketing. She came to me, and I wrote down everything her marketing did. Her supervisor for her co-op placement, I knew personally. So I said, here's her resume. She said, Mary, that's not what she did. She lied on it. Everything was a lie.
And you know what, Mary, I want to add something to that point, because today I had a meeting with one of a professional this morning. She stated on the resume about the internal audits. So internal auditing, ISO. I said, oh, let's talk about that. So I did ask her, what does it mean internal audit? Oh, I was supporting auditing process. So my question is, do you have a certificate? No. So how did you support internal audits when you don't have the certification? Normally the standards in the food industry, they are not allowing participation of professionals that they do not have the knowledge about the standard.
It's
Another
very
question that
important
I
these
did
days
ask
if you're
the
working in the
professional.
food.
What type? Give me 1 second, Mary, give me 1 second. Another question that I did ask the professional is, what type of ISO standard? Because she stated on the resume ISO. So my question was, what type of ISO standard? Give me the code, a specific number about the company that has been is certified. You know what? I can remember that. I told her, your resume is the criteria that a recruiter will use as a reference to conduct the interview. So everything that you state in your resume is something that the recruiter or the interviewer will ask you. So if you don't have the knowledge, they will catch you. Mary, can you prove that?
Oh, definitely. I often, when I do practice with my clients, I go through the resume and say, tell me how you did this. When did you do it? And if they can't verify that with an experience, I have an example because I had a client was applying for manufacturing supervisor, and the employer wanted Six Sigma. He knew about it, and he had practiced it with his company, but he didn't have the designation. So he went through different stages, and he went to the last interview was with the general manager. He was competing against somebody who had taken the courses on Sigma, but the manager came back and said, I understand that you've taken these courses, but give me your practical experience, how you have reduced waste in the manufacturing. He could not explain that because he didn't have any practical experience. So you've got to make sure that your resume relates to your personal experience, because if you get an interview, the HR person is going to ask you to define your experiences, define the words in your resume, and back it up with examples.
Exactly. Thank you. We have the questions. So Happy, let's talk about the question that you have. Happy? Okay.
Hi, Martha.
Hi, Happy. Go ahead.
Just a question is for an example SQF practitioner or HACCP coordinator job position. Is I have a 3 years of experience now. I'm kind of looking for those categories like HACCP coordinator and SQF practitioner kind of job. And they need either certification or either experience? Either or works better, or what is the better option I would look? Because right now I have experience as a QA technician, but with the amount of experience with the 3 years and more than that, I would like to get a job opportunity, but certification is better or experience is more better? Like, just a question. Wondering.
So
In my opinion,
Mary, give me 1 second, because I have to let Happy knows about the SQF. So the SQF standard is asking for SQF practitioners having the certificate. So if you want to apply as a SQF practitioner, Happy,
yes,
the certificate is mandatory, because that is the criteria from SQF. For that reason, I just asked Mary to give you the information. But Mary, let's talk about the scenario number 2. Let's talk about the situation from Happy. So the standard is asking for having the certificate in order to work as a SQF practitioner. This is something that is mandatory. But let's talk about the situation. How Happy can deal with that in her resume?
So what I would be adding to your resume is learned outcomes that she did in projects from her school to show people that you have the educational knowledge and you're working towards this designation. In the food industry, because we've had several companies with severe viruses that's gone to the consumer, the government is and companies are very, very particular about making sure that you have the certifications. They will check it because they've had too many people lie about certifications, and then they don't meet the qualifications, and then they end up with problems and risks in the food production, whatever. So this industry, you have to have the designations that they're asking for. If you're working towards the designations, that's great. You want to put that in there, but you also can include all the projects and what you learned from your education. Because if you learned it, you can work on it. I've had several clients who have not got the experience. I had one client who was an environmental engineer, had no experience in that. His summer job was working at East Park Gardens, just being making sure that people were safe on the water slides.
Yep.
After we did his resume and we focused on what he learned from his courses at university or college, his first job was he designed the environmental subdivision north of Toronto. And people said, how did he get that job? Well, we explained on his resume what he learned and what he could do and how we would handle these situations in the interview. So it's about managing and manipulating your information that's appealing to the interview, because the employer wants to know, do you have the knowledge? Because most students need to focus on that they have the academic knowledge to do that task. If you can prove that on your resume, you will get an interview.
Correct. And I fully support the contribution from Mary. Yeah. And based on the SQF, my advice for you, Happy, is definitely try to save money for getting the certificate, because under that standard is something that is mandatory. Yeah. So you can do it. I think, Bashara, you have another question. If we have, Mary, just let's talk about this one. If we have limited direct industry experience, but a strong project-based experience from academics, that is something that Mary already explained, like lab work during studies, what's the best way to present it so it demonstrates credibility and readiness for professional roles, Mary?
I'm going to talk about your experience, because when you did your co-op experience at Kellogg's, you went in there as a lab technician, and then your first job working with me was you were working on the production line at
Dr.
the pizza place, right?
Dr. Edgar was in Kellogg's. My first job in Kellogg's was like at the co-op as a lab technician, and then I switched for the job production. I was a production worker. I have been sharing that story with my students.
And then within 3 months, there was a position that came up within the factory for quality assurance. It was a very entry-level position. We wrote her resume for that position based on her lab experience.
Correct.
So you've got to bring your personal experiences into the job from the job posting to your personal experiences. And this is what the resume does. And you want to relate to the transferable skills on the job posting. Anybody that's gone to college or university, you have so much to offer the employer. But if you don't express it, the employer doesn't know. Because the theory was people don't know how to do it. I've even had HR managers say, I've hired this person, I thought they could do a job, and within a week, he doesn't know anything about doing this job. So you've got to be able to express how you can do the job. And you have to use your projects. Talk about your projects. What did you learn from them? What was the outcome? What was the challenge for that project, and how did you deal with it? Did you work with projects independently or on a team? Did you lead a team? This is very important to talk about in your resume as a new grad.
And how the key, Mary, and I want to just highlight that statement, is how you are presenting yourself in your resume. This is extremely important. This is extremely important. Yeah. And another point, Mary, that I want to state here, Basharat, give me just 1 second to close this, is Knowing what does it mean, those abbreviations, safe food Canadian regulations, preventative control plans, species change over validation. This is extremely important, knowing what does it mean. Because this morning I had another notice or another situation. The person that we were checking the resume, it states a specific abbreviation about a software. So I said, do you know what does it mean, lab MIS? No. So how you are going to apply for that job if you don't have an idea what does it mean, that specific abbreviation? Laboratory Management Internal Systems. So extremely important knowing, what does it mean, all those specific elements, is extremely important. CFIA, give me.
And you got to understand what kind of meat it is too, because if you're from a culture that doesn't like that meat and you still have to handle it, that's not going to work well for your values. I had a client whose company was looking for a manager. They were working, his company works for goat farming. They received 500 applications. None of them were accepted because nobody had experience. They didn't even know what a goat farm was. And you have to be able to understand the company, and we'll make that exception. This HACCP thing, and they're looking for meat experience, and the person has pharmaceutical experience, that doesn't relate. It's automatically going to be rejected because you don't have the specific experience that they're looking for. You got to understand what the company does before you apply, because, and again, is it something that you can do? Is it your values? Do you have the experience? And you've got to make sure that you've got the experience, education, experience, whatever they're asking for, it's expressed on your resume.
And this is part of the decoding process. The decoding process has as many states. You need to read about the company. Normally, most of the positions, we will see that they are introducing the company. What are the values? What the company is doing, And it's so important to be able to understand, those elements, safe food Canadian regulations, preventative control plans, So those elements are important. Mary, we have another question. If a job posting lists both certifications, for example, SQF, practitioner, and experience, but I only have one of the two, how should I present myself to remain the competitive?
Well, I believe in your industry, food industry, that the most important thing is certifications.
Yep.
Because you can learn your experience if you put that across well enough. You can talk about what you did, what you learned, like what those certifications meant to you. What did you learn? What was important about that? And relate it to the job posting. That's going to give you an edge because you're telling the employer that you understand what it means to be the HACP coordinator because you've learned that. And that it's all about transferring your experiences and matching them to the job posting on your resume.
Exactly. And I have another question. When job postings, they are asking for 1 to 2 years experience, but it's as a fresher, I only have certifications like food handler, allergen, HACCP. How should I present my profile so it still demonstrates readiness and commitment to the role?
So the first thing is, have you completed any university or college programs? Because that experience at post-secondary schooling is equivalent to 1 or 2 years experience. It's because of all the things that you learned in your program that you can apply to the workforce. Many employers have had in the past experiences where people come through colleges, universities, and they have this program, but they don't understand how it applies to the workforce in reality.
Correct. And most of the professionals here, they have a background from the country that they are originally coming from, and they have the background from the college. So as Mary stated before, is how you are presenting yourself is the key element. Yeah.
And if you have international experience, I always recommend including that. Because
it's a must. It's a must.
You have to do it. You have to include all your experiences. Even if you worked you volunteer at the food bank and you're working in a community food meal, you're dispensing food. So you have that food experience. You understand food safety rules.
Correct. So Mary, I have another question. We mentioned that resumes should show everything important and highlight results, but we are also told to keep resumes very short, 1 page for entry level or 2 pages maximum. For someone with multiple degrees or for educational backgrounds, how can we balance completeness with conciseness? Should we list them all or focus only on the most relevant?
Well, if you have lots of experience and lots of education, I recommend a skills-based resume because you're not repeating everything once over and over again. And the only time that I do a one-page resume is for a high school student. I did one for Martha's daughter when she was looking for a summer job, or tradespeople. Most other professions need a 2-page resume. Even new graduates are a 2-page resume because by the time I include all your education, all the courses that you talked about, your learned outcomes, and your previous summer hospitality work experience or your volunteer commitment, it can take 2 pages. The problem when I have worked with students from Ivy Business School, they've come to me and they've given me a 1-page resume. I can't read it because the font is so small and there's no white space because it goes from one margin to the end of the margin. That is also going to be rejected because I can't read it. If I can't read it, it's going in the garbage. And
Correct.
most people who are looking at your resume are in middle age and they need glasses.
Mary, and you know what? You are right. This morning, the resume that I was reading for that professional, she has a really good experience, yeah, and she had experience from the country that she's coming from, and experience here in Canada working in food industries as an entry level. 8 size font, 8. So I said, how you can read that? You know, because
And when I
they
work,
said that they have to you compile everything in 1 page, and I said, no, you can use 2 pages, but you have to figure it out with the formatting process. Remember, Mary is an expert tailoring resumes and formatting. Her daughter is the queen of the formatting in resumes. I can't explain that.
and when I worked with Martha's husband, I included he's done a lot of done a different when he came to Canada, he went into IT, got a certification. And then as he's progressing in his careers and he just went back to Western master's to get a master's degree, I've included his sales management experience, his international experience on his current
From
resume,
Colombia.
plus everything he's learned in his master's, so that when they go to talk about what he can do for his next step up as VP of IT, we can focus on what he's learned and how to apply it.
Correct.
So,
Thank you. Okay, let's talk about the next element. Okay, I hope that was answered, Basharan. Okay, so quick decode and decide checklist. Must have count, like you meet at least 80%, or must haves, nice to haves. If not, don't apply yet. Let's talk about that, Mary. What does it mean having between 75, no less than 80% for
well, I think now
everything?
employers are asking for way too much everything. So I'm thinking that you need to at least meet 90% of the responsibilities on that. You need to make sure that you have, when I talk to HR people, I'm asking what's more important, education or experience? And they say experience hands down. And it depends on the industry. Because for IT, as Martha's husband is in, they need the qualifications. Food industry, you need the certifications. And this is just government standards. Now, if you were working in accounting, you don't necessarily need to be an accountant to work in accounting, So it has to be a balance of what must needs, but the part of it is you have to be able to understand the industry that they're working for. HR people are getting too many applications because the applicants are not pre-qualifying themselves as what is necessary. And you also have to figure out what I want to be in this job. Can I do this job? And a lot of times people are just applying because of the job title. Doesn't mean that you can do the job.
Yeah.
And when HR people when the ATS system comes through, the ATS system will go possibly yes and no's. Somebody in that office goes through that yes pile to say maybe, potential, maybe, and no's. And then then they read it again, and then they send it to the hiring manager, who's going to be your supervisor, and they select down to maybe 5, 10 people that they want to interview. So this is why, and if people are applying for all kinds of jobs because they think they can do it with no backup, it's tying up the hiring process.
Correct. And as Mary stated, I just want to highlight that in the food industry, agricultural industry, I can say probably pharmaceutical too, is we have to guarantee that those regulatory aspects and certifications are normally one of the criteria, the main aspects as a criteria that HR professionals, they are using as a reference to make the decision. Yeah, and I think as well, Mary, you know better than me that is the years of experience. If
Oh,
they
yes,
said
yes,
1 to 2, you
and
have to
Martha, when she came
demonstrate.
to Canada, she started her job in food safety as a production worker. And then within 3 months, she moved up, and then she moved to another company within a year because she had experience and she was building up her career. And when she decided to go into teaching, we had to rewrite a new resume to focus on the skills that she could bring as a professor, which is
Correct.
different than working in food production as a quality manager.
That is the result of the tailoring process.
Exactly.
Doesn't matter if you have the skills for quality technician. You can compare a position between Maple Leaf, Lactalis, Sapporo, Sofina Foods, Dr. Edgar, 5 companies, different industries, QA technician jobs, and I can totally prove that all the positions are at least 50% different from the other one to another one. They are different. Doesn't matter if the title is the same. You have to spend the time tailoring the resume based on the company's requirements. Yeah, using the keyword mirror, matching the post exact nouns, tools, yeah, standards, certifications, regulations, testing, yeah, type of equipment. Several of the companies, they are asking for equipment, yeah, proofs, claims, convert this to proof bullets, volume, frequency, tools, results. Mary is highlighting a lot about the results. So what was the impact of your tasks before? And
Yeah,
we
you
are
have
not
to, in the food industry, it's all about percentages, how you have improved processes,
quantities.
reduced waste, met quality standards. But the other thing, when you're looking at a job posting, I was looking at a client to say, and this afternoon she was in bookkeeping. On the posting, it said attention to details twice. And attention to detail is very important in the food industry. And I told Martha it's meticulous in her word. You have to be meticulous because people's health rely on your ability to make sure that everything's okay.
Correct. Yeah. And regulatory fit. Yeah. Confirm the registration regime. Yes. It could be in Canada, Safe Canadian Food Inspection Agency, Safe Food Canadian Regulations, FDA in US. Several companies, as I said before, they are looking for professionals with that experience. FISMA, product category, meat, dairy, ready to eat, bakery, produce, distribution, retailers. Yeah. And it is not your lane. Retarget up upscale first, yeah, and work realities, night, weekend shifts. Don't forget about that, yeah. Temperature, cold, wet environments, lifting requirements. Several positions in the quality assurance technician field, they are asking for being able to lift 50 pounds. So think about that, yeah. Same with shifts, weekends, rotations, yeah. Call them out in your summary if you can do them. Yeah.
And
So
also the other thing that a lot of times in the food industry is working in different temperature controlled environments.
oh yeah.
And that.
Okay, so Mary, I just have a specific example based on this position. Yeah, we have, this is a current position that Maple Leaf has posted. I don't know if participants here, they already noticed that. Yeah, this is in Port Perry Land. So this is the name of the position. Company is Maple Leaf. Yeah, food safety quality assurance technician. They didn't post the date, but most of the companies, they are adding the date that the company posted. So Mary, let's talk a little bit about that, just to give the participants an idea. If this position was posted last week, because on Friday during the webinar I tried to get access to this one, I couldn't. So let's talk about that. This post was posted last week. So last week means on August, let me see, August 30th. Let's talk about last week, Wednesday, August 13th. So how long the job posting is going to be live And what is the importance to applying as soon as possible?
Oh, it's very important to apply as soon as possible, because even if the closing date they listed, if they reach a certain number of applicants, they will not accept any more applicants. Okay, even if they have the closing date this much, unless it's the government. The government has a posting date, but posting dates are now being shorter because they don't want so many applicants. So they're doing it deliberately and they're also companies are all, once you realize when they're posting new companies or when people are posting, like LinkedIn usually posts new positions on the weekend, Friday, Saturday morning, for applications to be sent out Monday morning. Hospitals, another place for food preparation is in hospitals and a retirement home. Is a very key industry so that you can show your skills in there. Different hospitals will post Tuesday and they go only a week. So most often positions are only held up for a week, unless it's a senior level position that they may need some specific qualifications or experience with that. They may hold it up longer until it's filled. But the first thing that I'd be asking everybody is, do you want to live in Port Perry? I would find out where that is, and do you want to live there? What is the environment? What's the conditions?
So we will
Canada
be
has a lot of different temperatures across the country. If you're coming from a very warm climate, moving into a cold environment, you may not survive. So you've got to know where the location is. And you also got to know what that location has outside of work. What are you going to be doing? Because you're only at work 8 or 10, 12 hours, but what are you going to do after work? Is there things in there, that community, that addresses your personal living commitments?
Correct. So let's do the analysis. So common mistakes for that application. Let's do the introduction. Applying without plant flour or meat protein or sanitation exposure, because that is part of the elements. Assuming it is primarily desks, yeah, or lab internal manufacturing system work instead of floor-based verification, yeah. So this is something that professionals they have to realize. Yes, like when you are working as a quality assurance technician, you most of the time have to be supporting the production operations, packaging operations, receiving, shipping, warehouse. It's not, you can spend time in front of a computer, but most of the time you are
You're on your
conducting
walking. You're
testing, you are
walking.
doing a sensory evaluation is on the floor, yeah. Submitting generic bullets like tested samples, recorded results, not mirroring the posting's language, applying with zero plan experience, and not addressing chief flexibility or comfort with, as Mary stated, cold or wet environments.
So
Yeah.
the one nice thing about if a job posting is posted on LinkedIn and there's a job poster, many people don't connect with a job poster. So some of those things that Martha just mentioned, like the shift work or the temperatures or what the percentage of time you're going to be on the computer or in the lab or whatever, you can ask those questions to the job poster so that you know more about the opportunity, and they will give that information to you. And that also gives you connection to somebody in that company, even if you're not invited. And then you can ask them, when is the hiring process? When's the interviewing start? And they also can if you don't get hired or interviewed, you can always keep in touch with them and say, can you send me updating postings for this position? That's very key.
Okay, so this is the opportunity. Food safety quality assurance technician will assist in the application of all company food safety and quality assurance programs. So that program controls and measurements are performed throughout all processes, thus ensuring that wholesome quality products are manufactured and all company and customer specifications and all regulatory requirements are met. Food safety quality assurance technicians are a key member of the quality assurance department. Yeah, any Maple Leaf Foods team member interested in being considered for this role are encouraged to apply online by August 27. This is something that is beautiful for Maple Leaf. They are always, most of the time, they are adding the due date for the application.
Okay.
Yeah.
I
Other
want to go
ones, they
back,
do not.
Martha. That first paragraph is very important. What
Yep.
I'm reading from that is that they're looking for somebody who has done policies and procedures.
Yep.
And
Application.
if you don't have that experience in writing policies and procedures or making recommendations to improve their food safety program, you're not going to be accepted as a potential candidate.
So in this case, when you are reading this introduction, You have to start thinking about, oh, where did I just conducted or just perform that specific tasks? Yeah,
Yeah.
that is when you have to start thinking in order to start working on your tailoring process. Yeah,
So most people forget that paragraph, but that first paragraph will tell
it's a key.
exactly what the company is looking for and what kind of experience. And often they will say that they're looking for person with attention to detail, organizational skills. Those are key words that you want to put in your profile sentence.
Correct. This is a snapshot of a day in the life. Yeah, verify site prerequisites and CCPs, so critical control points, CPs. Yeah, we have manufacturing practices, ensuring good manufacturing practices are followed by from incoming raw materials to outgoing finished goods. Conduct daily pre-operational inspections of the area and equipment of all assembly and packaging areas as required. Update the environmental swabbing list and prepare weekly listeria sites as required for the environmental monitoring program swabbing according to the schedule. Conduct all environmental swabbing and product testing programs, including scheduling, lab preparations, and collection of samples. Perform tests and interpretation of results. Yeah. Prepare and present product for product evaluations to ensure product and customer specifications are met. Conduct food safety audits on a daily basis, including good manufacturing practices requirements. Conduct in-house audits as required. Yeah, assist corporate consumer response team on an investigation of consumer complaints and reporting in central database. Follow through with supplier on all ingredients, non-conformances, and corrective actions. Assist in audit preparations and actively participate in government and company audit and inspection programs. Assist with employee training, new employee orientation, and employee coaching for all food safety, good manufacturing, and HACCP requirements. Input all food safety information into the food safety metrics in a timely manner. Promote a positive and professional relationship with the Canadian Food Inspection Agency and ensure compliance with all CFIA regulatory requirements. Perform and participate in mock and actual product recalls. File all HACCP paperwork, chart data, and post information on employee notice board. Purchase all lab supplies and consumables as required. Prepare monthly tasks summary for the food safety quality assurance manager. Conduct other non-routine tasks as requested by manager and complete required tasks in SAP. Yeah. So those ones are the type of hard skills. Yeah. And
okay, can I
one,
make a comment on this? So when I was listening to you and I was reading it, some of the things that's very important in this job posting, how they list the postings, the details, is preference of what they're looking for. So what they're looking for, the top 3 or 5, you need to make sure that you can do that. The other thing that they're not saying in here is that they are expecting somebody to have good, excellent written communication skills and oral presentation skills and written report communication.
Thank you, Mary, for stating that. I am advising normally professionals that they are asking me about how to tailor a resume, and my advice for them.
Well, you got to read it. You got to understand what they're looking for. You also got to understand what the underlining things that they're looking for, and like again, it's attention to detail.
But Mary, you know what? Mary, you know what? Adding for the information that you stated is, in my case, that is something that has been impacting my applications positively, is follow the same organization.
And then another key point
that
is
they have. So bullet number 1.
You've got to make each point, bring in your own personal experiences to address each point. You're not copying what's on the posting to your resume. You're modifying it to your own personal experiences to address that topic of that point.
And you can follow the order that they have over here. As Mary stated, the first 3 to 5, 6 bullet points are the criteria that normally they can use to make the decision if they want to follow or keep working with your resume or not. Yeah. So because that is something that I am noticing too. When professionals they are working on their applications, they have like several activities, but not well matching based on the job posting. So my advice for them is, if the number 1 is verify site prerequisites and CCPs, think about an experience that you had before, if you have it, stating this one and make the adjustment to list that as a experience number one for all your positions before. Yeah. So this one is the aspects that the company is asking for. What you will bring? Post-secondary diploma in related field, minimum 1 to 2 years in the food industry, including technical and audit experience will be, give me 1 second, will be an asset. And strong interpersonal leadership, verbal and written communication, presentation and analytical skills, self-directed and professional, computing proficiency in Microsoft Office. Work requires, look at this one, ability to lift objects weighing up to 50 pounds and working in a cold condition, and ability to work rotating shifts between the hours of 2 a.m. to 12:30 a.m. Mary, go ahead.
So one of the things that this is contradicting to what the responsibilities are that listed, because when you have a post-secondary, they have not said what kind of post-secondary diploma they're looking for. Okay. And again, the year's experience would be an asset. So it means that they are willing to look at new grads because you do have 1 to 2 years experience understanding the food industry. This one here, the strong leadership, self-directed in that, you can include those terms in your cover letter. Your computer proficiency in Microsoft Office, to me, Microsoft Office is pretty common. But if you have different computer programs like SAP is the most common one, or if you know laboratory testing, then you want to include them, okay? And then the last two, you can address those things in the cover letter. A lot of this stuff that what you bring can be addressed in your cover letter.
Correct. So I have just an explanation quickly just to complete the presentation for today. So the structure of the job posting. Normally, each job posting has a job title and a summary. Yeah. So what to pay attention? Level of the position, scope, and where the work happens. In the lab, in production, different areas, and key responsibilities at a glance. Yeah. So from the Maple Leaf, we have food safety quality technician, indicates execution, verification role, pre-operational, swabbing, critical control point checks, not policy level ownership, but work happens mostly on the floor in cold, wet areas, not behind a desk. Yeah. Second aspect, responsibilities. We have to differentiate between the core versus the nice to have tasks. Core tasks appear consistently across similar postings. Yeah. In Maple Leaf, we have core signals that include daily monitoring, verification, data capture into food safety metrics. Mary stated that, and acted with urgency to escalate food safety quality assurance concerns. So you have to state that in your resume. Yeah. Requirements or qualifications. Identify what's truly essential versus flexible. Yeah. Essential requirements appear consistently across similar postings. For example, essential qualifications that is based on the years of experience, 1, 2, 2 to 4, yeah, in food industry with technical and audit exposure and comfort on the production floor. And company description. Mary stated that already, yeah. Look for cultural and industry fit signals.
So when you're talking about
If you can deal with meat, this is not the industry for you. Sorry?
So the other thing to be aware of under qualifications is the soft skills that you bring as a personality, like your problem solving, your communication skills. Those are important to put on your resume.
And that is probably, this is something that we will work in the future, how you can use, how you can use a format for stating your soft and hard skills. Yeah. So, yeah. And yes, that is part of the qualifications based on the hard and soft skills and the company description. Yeah. As I said before, this is a company that is handling meat. So actually, it's based on your culture, beliefs, whatever, if you have to read what the type of product the company is manufacturing, because that is something that could be for you and criteria to make the decision if you want to submit your application or not. Yeah. So
this company here, they bring live chickens into their plant and then kill them and then do whatever they need to do for the different production areas to use the chicken parts.
Yep. So
if you can't, because quality assurance, you may need to go into that part of the plant where they are killing the chickens. If you can't handle that, you may not want to apply.
Or if you are not able for testing products that contain meat or chicken or pork, you have to read that in the job posting. Yeah, because normally quality assurance technicians, they have to conduct the
Every department.
testing process. Yeah. So how they correct how the ATS or applicant tracking system works for screening resumes. ATS parses your life, extracts sections, and matches keywords from the job posts, skills, tools, certifications, verbs, action verbs that is strong matches that get surfaced to recruiter sooner. Yeah. So must mirror skills, daily monitoring. You have to state something about daily monitoring, verification, record review, verify prerequisites and CCPs, control points, checks, ensure good manufacturing practices, input food safety information into metrics, microbiological and analytical sample collection, and operate with urgency, escalate food safety quality assurance concerns. So if you are stating that in your resume as a past experience, is something that will help, the system to select your application. Experience keywords, minimum 1 to 2 years. You have to demonstrate that. Yeah, technical and audit exposure, because it's something that the job posting states. Floor-based verification experience and environmental product sampling. Yeah, action verbs. Mary has stated that. Yeah, perform, verify, monitor, review, escalate, input, conducted, and recommendation. Yeah.
Right.
So,
on your resume, all your action verbs has to be in past tense.
Correct. Thank you for stating that, Mary. And this is an example. Yeah, perform. Look at that. Past tense. Perform pre-operational good manufacturing practices and CCPs or CPs verifications, conducted product and environmental microsampling, and reviewed records and input results into food safety metrics, escalated non-conformances per HACCP quality assurance program. Yeah. So identifying red flags or unrealistic signals. Yeah. What looks normal or credible. Major CPG employer or standard duties for plant food safety quality assurance technician. Floor heavy verification, sampling, and record review. Yeah. Audit metrics, urgency, and escalation. Yeah. Do not deal breakers. Yeah. Chief's environment may require overnights, weekends, majority time on production floor. But tech stack. Yeah. Be ready to show you can learn systems quickly. Yeah. So we are validating the contributions from many. Yeah. Transferable skills. Mary already has spoke about that. Yeah. If you don't meet every requirement, map what you do have to what they ask for. Yeah. So if the posting is asking for record review on site audits, if you are missing it, you can show internal audit participation or inspections, document control checks, mock recalls, or corrective action and preventive action plans, log updates that prove compliance literacy. That is focused on this one. CCPs, GMP verification. If the posting is asking for that and you are missing that, any line clearance, weight metal detector checks, temperature, HTST checks, or sanitation pre-op sign-offs is helping to replace this specific information. Microenvironmental sampling. Yeah, if you don't have that specific experience in microenvironmental, you can state if you have experience from the college, swabbing, AKP, allergen, listeria, water activity, pH testing, basic micro handling from school or co-ops or lab practicums. Yeah, Mary has stated that before. Food safety metrics, like handling data, you can replace that for accurate data entry, basic trend charts, Pareto, defect tracking from QA, call out volumes and error-free records. Yeah, 1 to 2 years in food plus auditing process, a 6 to 12 months co-op plus intense relevant tasks. Yeah, for example, conducting the critical control checks in a shift of 8 hours or 10 hours, every quarter, or 12 pre-operational checks or reviews or 2 internal audits, short HACCP GFSI course. Normally, professionals, several colleges, I can talk about Conestoga College, they have the HACCP course. So you can add that information that you have your course from the Conestoga College. Yeah. And sense of urgency and escalation, you can state like a concrete history when you halted release, held product, or escalated the deviation quickly and professionally.
Can I make a comment about that last page?
Self-assessment.
Okay.
Absolutely.
A lot of these things that you mentioned Anybody that's worked in hospitality, fast food has done this, other than your verification. If you've ever worked in hospitality, worked at a food bank, you can include that as experience on your resume and put it in terms of how important it is to have that food safety, the quality checks or whatever that you're doing in those areas are very important. If you have that experience, put it on. And it also talks about your customer service, your teamwork abilities.
Correct. Or if you are working in Tim Hortons, correct, Mary? Normally professionals that they are working in food industry as an entry level, Tim Hortons, McDonald's.
Yep. And that's a lot of times you need to do that to learn as entry level, but entry level also leads to other positions. Like in Martha's case, she started off with production and working as a production assembly, putting the pieces of vegetables on the pizzas.
And I had experience working in Tim Hortons in the bakery area. Yeah. I spent 3 months working in one of the locations here in London, Ontario. So yeah, self-assessment. Do I fit? How I know if do I fit? It's a framework: must have versus nice to have versus trainable. Yeah. So according to this job posting, you must have floor-based verification and monitoring, pre-operation, good manufacturing, CCP or CP, record review, on-site audits or observations. Inspections is applicable, yeah? Must have environmental and product sampling. Remember, if you have that experience from the college, you can add that information in your resume, yeah? Analytical test collection, entering results into food safety metrics, yeah? Escalating issues with urgency, and ability to partner with regulatory entities and production teams. Yeah. Nice to have. That is not mandatory. Yeah. Experience with the specific site tools. Remember, if you have experience with different software or other hardware, you can just state that in your resume. Yeah. Small CI or data projects, prior exposure to trace or recall exercises. Remember that in one of the classes we were conducting that recall exercise, and pest control program checks, and trainable. Specific SOPs, forms, and portals, yeah, metric dashboards, Maple Leaf emphasize trainings and data-driven food safety quality assurance culture, So apply if you meet 70 to 80% of core requirements. So in this case, Mary, the must have, indeed, for this example, they need a professional that is making a decision to apply. They must have all the 4 bullet points.
Oh, yes.
To pass the 70-80% of the
in the food industry, you have to have the certifications, you have to have the diplomas, you have to have the degrees, because this is now government regulated.
Thank you. Okay, so based on that, how you can match your skills to the posting? Hard skills mirrors their words, so pre-operational, good manufacturing practices, environmental and product sampling, ATP, allergen, listeria, input into food safety metrics, escalate with urgency. Yeah. So those keywords that they are listed in the job posting, environmental monitoring, CCP. Yeah. As Mary stated, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah. Those ones are the key ones that they are looking for someone that is able to complete. Yeah. So those ones are the hard skills. Soft skills, time management, being able to prioritize, sense of urgency. You are in the QA lab doing your testing for a protein, but if someone in the production area is calling you because they stopped the line, because they found pieces of glove, oh no, give me 10 minutes because I have to complete the testing and then I will go to the production. No, you have to reprioritize and you have to be able to manage your time. Sometimes, most of the time in Dr. Edgar, I was dealing with the afternoon shift by myself, 3 p.m. to 11 p.m. Sometimes I was cleaning at 10 p.m. all the equipment in order to close my lab. And Marta, line stop. Go to the production area, bring the camera, take the pictures, collect the data for writing the report for the corrective action plan. Not the same day, but sometimes I spend an extra hour or 2 hours. That is the reality in the food industry. Yeah.
A couple of other soft skills that I think are very important these days are adaptability to change management, collaboration, problem solving, critical thinking. And if you can show demonstrations of those, that's also an asset on your resume or in your cover letter.
Correct. Collaboration, communication skills. Yeah. Being able to speak in public because you have to provide training for the new employees. Yeah. Curiosity, being able to observe others. Yeah. So those ones are the part of soft skills. Anything else that you think we need to add here, Mary, as a soft skill?
I think you need to have problem solving, resourcefulness.
Yeah, that is a key one.
And critical thinking, because you, wherever you are in quality assurance, you have to come up with recommendations. You have to, and risk assessments, understanding risk, which is your analytical skills. Change management is huge because if there's a problem on the floor, you have to quickly adjust and make samples and find samples that's going to work or find the problem very quickly and come
Correct.
up. And you have to work under pressure.
Oh. Yes, flexibility, as Mary said. And, another one that is important is critical and analytical thinking skills and having initiative. Don't expect from your manager to, okay, we have a problem. They are expecting to hear what could be a solution. Okay. So job fit checklist. This is something that we have to evaluate. Focus on the skills, hard and soft skills, more than 70 to 80%. Values and culture from the company. If you fit, in this case, with Maple Leaf, comfortable in data-driven Six Sigma, as Mary states, as a continuous improvement. Motivated by sustainability, because Maple Leaf is a carbon-neutral protein company and aligned with inclusiveness, safety first, and growth-minded environment. Yeah. Experience, you have to check that as a part of the criteria. So skills is one. Second, the values and culture of the company, type of product that they are manufacturing. Experience, yeah. In this case, we have 1 to 2 examples each: plant floor QA exposure or auditing or in any interaction. And growth opportunities. Why this role now? It's like a food safety quality assurance tech is a feeder into coordinator, process leader, and supervisor tracks. So Maple Leaf advertises broad career paths across different plans and functions. If you want a structured growth, this organization signals is clearly. Yeah. So that is the idea with the company. And this is an example about the, just 1 second. What is going on over here? Here. This is an example about fit summary of your resume. Quality assurance with 10 months or a year of experience, plant floor experience, perform pre-operational good manufacturing and CCP verifications. Yeah. Conducted ATP, allergen swabbing, and product sampling. Enter results into food safety matrix. Escalated deviations properly in partnership with production and CFIA. Yeah. Or if you are coming from India or another different country, you can state, if you deal with regulatory entities, add the name of the regulatory entity from the country that you are originally coming from. Yeah. Seeking to grow in Maple Leaf carbon neutral values-based culture. Yeah. So sometimes we are overlooking work realities. So what the posting signals is food safety quality assurance. Techs often rotate or work afternoon, night shifts and spend long periods on the floor. Flexibility is frequently called out, So typical missteps is not addressing shift flexibility or comfort with cold, wet, or fast-paced areas, dropping out late in process. Yeah. It's not 9 to 5 shift. Yeah, or physically demanding is something that we have to evaluate over here. Yeah, and yes, those aspects are important. The posting signals. It is in hands-on plant role, most time of the production floor within a major protein manufacturer. Expect pre-operation and checks, swabbing verification, data capture, or close work with operations. Yeah. So it's coming from a lab only or produced bakery background and applying without any plant flow. So it's so important to determine that we are able to just handle products in different areas. Yeah. And the tailoring process. Yeah. So it's important to guarantee that we are able to, based on the post is asking for, we can to create the job posting. Yeah. Don't just miss words that they are definitely a key element, like a tested samples, recorded results, not mirroring the post language. Yeah. Is something that definitely is affecting the application process. Yeah. Ignoring the key qualifications. yeah, is something that definitely will be affecting the application. Yeah. And what else? I think we have already the application. So any other questions, comments?
Can I make a point here? When you're looking at the job posting and you're writing a resume, the purpose of the resume is to prove to the employer that you can do the job.
Thank you.
And then the interview is about how you do your job.
And
if I like you.
You have to prove that. For that reason, I'm going to highlight again. You have to be honest.
Oh, honesty. You need to be honest on your resume and
Yes.
in your interview, because if you don't, it'll come back and haunt you.
And you won't be able to demonstrate. So if you have any questions about checking your resumes or information about that, Mary is here and happy to help you. And because she has the experience for tailoring resumes, working on cover letters, interview preparation, LinkedIn profiles, So if you want, you can take a picture of the SQL code. This is the access for her website, And anything about the experience with the food industry, that's me. So I can just support you guys with any requests about certifications or information or resume reviews based on applications. Okay. Any
And
other
if you're
questions?
looking for an internal promotion, like you're at a position and you want to expand into other more senior responsibilities, I can help trail your resume to meet those senior opportunities.
Excellent. Any other questions, comments, concerns, something that would you like to clarify in this session?
You did a great job, Martha.
No, thank you, Mary. You are the key master here. Thank you. Okay, my request. Thank you for those, clapping hands and everything. Could you do me a favor? We will be in the Hall of Fame. So I need a picture for all of you. Thank you, Bashkarat. You know me. She's one of my top students in the classes, and she keep the camera on during the presentation because that is my requirement. So, Monica, Arjan, Niral, Pratik, Mehak, VP, and Rohit, if you want to turn on your camera, just smile. We wish you the best with your applications. We hope that this session helps. We hope that this is an informative session for you. So think about how you are going to read the look at Rohit, Mehak, as I am working on the grading process. Okay, let's see. So let's do it again today. Let me work on this. Okay, okay. 1, 2, and 3, and another one. 1, 2, and 3. Okay.
Perfect.
Guys, thank you so much for joining me today. And we hope this informative session will help you in order to make decisions. A lot of postings are open right now. As Mary stated, companies, they are posting midnight, early in the morning. Keep checking.
And just a thought, employers tend to hire more in the fall because they're planning for their 2026 staffing issues. So there'll be an increase of postings, regardless of whatever is happening in the world with the tariffs and everything else. But traditionally, you are going into a high season for recruitment because employers are planning their staffing needs for 2026.
Correct. Mary, I have another question here. Pratik is asking me, as Mary said, ask about the status of your application. But in my experience, they do not even update you regarding your application status. Ghosted. What to do here?
Okay, I was referring to when you're talking to a job poster. So you can talk to them, and once you make can ask a question to the job poster, you have made that connection with that person. So then you can say, you can ask questions to that poster. When will the interviewing start? When will it end? When do you expect to hire people? Then you have a connection. If I'm not accepted for this position, can you let me know about upcoming opportunities within your company? You have a connection, so that connection is stronger than writing an email, because you can do that through LinkedIn, and most job seekers don't pay attention to that. But this is only available on LinkedIn. You can't call HR and ask them for where your status is. They can't do that. But if you know you make a connection with the job poster through LinkedIn, you have a connection. They may respond to you, but ask a question that's not related to the job posting. For this one at Maple Leaf, you can say, well, what's the rotation schedule for shifts? Most often it's a 2-week rotation of everything, but some companies now are having people who want to work nights or afternoons, and they keep them on that shift, or they have continental shifts, which is now becoming a more important thing because you can do 36 hours of work within 3 days because you're doing 12-hour shifts. You can make connections with people on the job poster by asking questions. Like you can ask, well, if I'm working in a cold temperature environment, how often will I be in there? Or what's the percentage of me doing desk work to being on the floor? You can ask those questions. You can ask about daily expectations if there's not anything listed. You can only do that with the job poster listed on the LinkedIn job posting.
And we will be working on a specific webinar in a couple of days about the importance for making connections in LinkedIn. LinkedIn is a very powerful tool.
And most people, it's the second largest resource for job seeking these days. It's going to get more popular because employers need to find ways that they don't want to be bombarded through job boards about job opportunities. If you have a good LinkedIn profile, your profile is being seen before and you are looked at before a job posting is posted. And you can make connections on LinkedIn. It is so powerful, and people don't utilize it enough and don't put the right information on LinkedIn.
So we are working with Mary in order to prepare a really good webinar about that specific tool. So any other questions? So Pratik, I hope that helps. And you have to prepare yourself mentally because this is a process that mentality plays a key role. Yeah. So don't give up. Keep working on your applications. Yeah. Ask questions. Yeah.
And remember that doing a job search is just like playing the lotto. You have to invest in a lot of tickets before you get that winner ticket. The same thing with job searching. You have to make a lot of applications. You have to be very specific on what kind of job applications you are. I have a client that is very specific in the applications because before he sends out an application, he does the company research. He understands what the company's about and then looks at, do I have this experience or not? And he's at a senior level. So he only sends out maybe 3 applications a week, not 12, not 20. He's very tailored, very specific on what he's looking for because he knows what he can bring to the table and he knows what kind of job he's looking for. So he tailors all his experiences. And then each resume, he spends 2 or 3, 4 hours on that because he tailors each resume to each job posting, which is very critical for everybody.
Correct. That's true. So Mary, we have a message for this session. The practical advice, understanding, look for has given me much more clarity. Thank you, Mary. We really appreciate
Martha.
it. Yeah.
Good luck, everybody. If you have any questions, you can talk to me or Martha.
Thank you.
Thank you. Take care.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you so much, Professor. Thank you, Mary.
Thank you. Let's be in touch, okay? Take care, everyone. Thank you for joining me.